Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt trapped in a loop of negative thoughts, as if your mind is running a program that won't stop? You wake up tired, you carry worries from yesterday, you doubt yourself, and before you know it, that negativity starts shaping your reality. Your mind operates like a powerful magnet, constantly attracting experiences, people, and circumstances that match the frequency of your dominant thoughts. This isn't just a poetic idea. It's a principle that governs the way reality unfolds in your life. Every thought you entertain has a magnetic pull, whether you realize it or not. The way you feel, the way you act, and the results you produce in your life all stem from the thoughts you repeatedly think. It's not enough to merely wish for a positive life while indulging in a negative thought pattern. The mind doesn't work that way. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. And what you are is shaped by your habitual thoughts. Take a moment to reflect. What are you consistently thinking about? When you wake up in the morning, where does your mind go? Do you immediately start replaying your worries from yesterday, anticipating problems and expecting the worst? Or do you consciously direct your mind toward possibilities, solutions, and the opportunities that lie ahead? Most people don't even realize that their minds are conditioned to attract negativity because they have never been taught how to consciously direct their thinking. The mind is always at work, processing information, analyzing situations, and making sense of the world. But here's the catch. It does not distinguish between what is wanted and what is unwanted. It simply amplifies whatever you give the most energy to. If you focus on lack, struggle, and limitation, you will experience more of those things. If you dwell on past mistakes, failures, or disappointments, you will unconsciously recreate those patterns in the future. This is not magic, nor is it superstition. It is the natural law of the mind. Your thoughts shape your emotions. Your emotions influence your actions, and your actions determine your results. To truly grasp the power of your mind, consider this. The brain is wired to look for patterns, and it will always find evidence to support whatever you believe to be true. If you believe that you are unlucky, that life is unfair, or that success is out of reach, your mind will filter reality in a way that confirms those beliefs. You will notice obstacles instead of opportunities. You will see reasons to doubt yourself instead of reasons to take action. You will focus on everything that is wrong instead of everything that is right. The opposite is also true. When you believe in possibility, in solutions, and in your own potential, your mind starts to highlight opportunities, answers, and breakthroughs. What you seek, you will find. This is why people who always talk about problems seem to have more of them. They are not cursed, nor are they simply unlucky. They are magnifying those problems by constantly focusing on them. The more energy you give to something, the stronger it becomes in your life. When you keep thinking about what's going wrong, you're instructing your subconscious mind to keep you stuck in that reality. On the other hand, those who focus on growth, solutions, and progress seem to create a life filled with success and abundance. It's not because they are any different from you. It's because they have trained their minds to work for them instead of against them. Let's take an example. Imagine two people facing the same financial setback. One person immediately begins to panic, thinking, "This always happens to me. I'll never get ahead. I'm stuck." They start feeling hopeless, which leads to hesitation, fear, and inaction. That inaction only worsens their situation. Meanwhile, the second person sees the setback as temporary. They say, "Okay, this is a challenge, but there must be a way forward." They start looking for solutions, brainstorming ways to generate income, cutting unnecessary expenses, or even finding new opportunities they hadn't considered before. Their energy shifts. Their actions become aligned with solutions instead of problems. It's the same situation, but two completely different outcomes, simply because of how the mind was directed. Your thoughts are not passive. Every time you entertain a thought, you are either building a mental pathway towards success or reinforcing a mental roadblock that keeps you stuck. This is why it is crucial to guard your mind fiercely. Most people allow any thought to enter their minds unchecked, as if their minds were open fields with no fences. But a gorgeous mind, a mind that attracts abundance, joy, and fulfillment, does not leave its gates wide open. It is selective. It chooses what to entertain. It disciplines itself to focus only on what aligns with growth, empowerment, and possibility. Think about the conversations you engage in, the news you consume, the people you surround yourself with. All of these things influence your thoughts and therefore your energy. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, complaints, gossip, fear-driven media, you are conditioning your mind to operate at that frequency. But if you intentionally expose yourself to uplifting ideas, empowering conversations, and a vision that excites you, your entire mental environment shifts. The key is awareness. You must become aware of what you are habitually thinking about. If your thoughts are primarily focused on problems, you must make a conscious effort to shift your attention to solutions. If you catch yourself dwelling on the past, you must redirect your focus to the future. If you notice yourself engaging in self-doubt, you must immediately replace those thoughts with empowering ones. This doesn't happen overnight, but with practice, you can train your mind to work in alignment with your goals. Every great transformation begins in the mind. The people who rise above their circumstances, who achieve extraordinary things, and who live fulfilling lives are not necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the most privileged. They are the ones who have mastered the ability to control their focus. They have trained their minds to be magnets for success, happiness, and abundance. They do not allow circumstances to dictate their thinking. Instead, they use the power of thought to shape their circumstances. The moment you truly understand this, everything changes. You stop feeling like a victim of life and start realizing that you are, and always have been, the creator of your reality. Your mind is a magnet. What are you attracting? Emotions are an undeniable part of the human experience, and yet most people spend their lives either suppressing them or being controlled by them. The way you handle your emotions, especially negative ones, determines the quality of your life. Some people allow negative emotions to consume them, dictating their actions, their mindset, and ultimately their results. Others learn to recognize emotions for what they truly are. They are not barriers meant to hold you back. They are messengers trying to tell you something. The difference between a person who remains stuck in negativity and a person who rises above it is not the absence of negative feelings, but the ability to interpret them correctly and use them as a tool for growth. Every emotion you experience is rooted in a thought, whether conscious or unconscious. When you feel anxious, there is a thought triggering that anxiety. When you feel frustrated, there is a belief fueling that frustration. The problem is that most people don't take the time to examine their thoughts. They feel a surge of negativity and immediately react, as if they have no control over the process. But once you realize that emotions are not random, that they are the direct result of the thoughts you are entertaining, you begin to understand that you have far more control than you ever imagined. Imagine for a moment that you receive an unexpected bill in the mail. If your automatic thought is, I can't afford this, this is going to ruin me, you will feel stress, fear, and anxiety. Your heart might start racing, your breathing might become shallow, and your body will react as if you're in danger. But if your first thought is, this is just a temporary situation, I can figure this out, your emotional response will be entirely different. You might still feel a sense of urgency, but it won't be paralyzing fear. It will be determination. The situation itself has not changed. The only thing that changed was the thought that triggered the emotion. People who struggle with negative emotions often believe that they have no control over them. They say things like, I can't help how I feel, or it's just the way I am. But this is not true. Feelings are not fixed. They are fluid. They arise in response to what you focus on, and you can shift your focus at any moment. The key is awareness. You must learn to observe your emotions without immediately identifying with them. Instead of saying, I am anxious, you can say, I am experiencing anxiety right now. That small shift creates distance between you and the emotion, allowing you to step back and analyze it rather than being consumed by it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is resisting negative emotions. Mistakes people make is resisting negative emotion. The more you try to deny or ignore an emotion, the stronger it becomes. A much more effective approach is to acknowledge the emotion, the stronger it becomes. A much more effective approach is to acknowledge the emotion without judgment. If you feel fear, don't run from it. Sit with it. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to tell me? There's a difference between acknowledging emotions and indulging in them. Some people don't suppress their emotions, but they dwell in them. They replay negative experiences in their minds over and over again, reliving the pain each time. They reinforce their suffering by constantly feeding the emotion instead of moving through it. Emotions, like waves, are meant to pass through you, not to take up permanent residence in your mind. When you learn to experience emotions fully, without getting stuck in them, you become emotionally free. Another key to mastering negative emotions is understanding that they are often based on perception, not reality. If you believe that someone wronged you, you will feel anger, even if they never intended to hurt you. If you believe that a failure defines you, you will feel shame, even though failure is just a temporary experience. This is why two people can go through the same experience and react in completely different ways. One person loses a job and falls into depression, convinced that life is unfair. Another person loses a job and sees it as an opportunity to finally pursue their dream. The event was the same. The interpretation was different. And because the interpretation was different, the emotions were different. This is why self-awareness is so critical. You must become conscious of the meanings you are attaching to events in your life. When something negative happens, ask yourself, what else could this mean? Instead of assuming the worst, look for an empowering interpretation. The body and mind are deeply connected, which means that your physiology also plays a role in how you process emotions. Have you ever noticed that when you feel down, your posture changes, your shoulders slump, your breathing becomes shallow, and your energy drops? But if you force yourself to stand tall, take deep breaths, and move with confidence, your emotional state automatically shifts. The body sends signals to the brain, and by changing the way you carry yourself physically, you can interrupt negative emotions before they take over. Another powerful way to handle negative emotions is through conscious reframing. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, ask, how will this situation look 5 years from now? Most of the things that cause stress in the present moment lose their significance over time. What seems like a disaster today often becomes a small, insignificant detail in the grand scheme of your life. When you expand your perspective, you shrink the power of negative emotions. The power of gratitude cannot be overstated when it comes to overcoming negative feelings. It is impossible to feel deep gratitude and deep negativity at the same time. The next time you find yourself in a negative state, shift your focus immediately by listing 3 things you are grateful for. This simple act forces your mind to break the cycle of negativity and replace it with appreciation. It doesn't mean you ignore problems. It means you refuse to let them control your emotional state. There is no escaping emotions. No matter how much success, wealth, or knowledge you acquire, you will still experience moments of doubt, fear, frustration, and sadness. The difference between those who thrive and those who struggle is not the absence of negative emotions, but the way they respond to them. If you can learn to see emotions as temporary signals rather than permanent states, if you can observe them without becoming them, if you can use them as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks, you will no longer be controlled by negativity. Instead, you will harness the power of every emotion to move you forward, to make you stronger, and to shape a mind that is truly unstoppable. The way you see the world is not based on reality itself, but on the paradigm through which you filter it. A paradigm is a mental program, a set of deeply ingrained beliefs and assumptions that determine how you interpret every experience, every challenge, and every opportunity in your life. It is the lens through which you see yourself and the world around you. Most people live their entire lives unaware of their paradigms, assuming that the way they think and perceive reality is simply the way things are. But nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is that your paradigm is not reality. It is merely your interpretation of reality, and it can be changed. The moment you shift your paradigm, everything in your life begins to change. From the moment you were born, your mind began absorbing information. You inherited beliefs from your parents, teachers, culture, and society. You learned what was normal, what was possible, and what was expected of you. Over time, these beliefs became deeply embedded in your subconscious mind, forming the paradigm that now controls your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. If you were raised in an environment that emphasized struggle, you may have developed a paradigm that tells you life is hard, that money is difficult to earn, or that success is reserved for other people. If you grew up in a family that feared failure, you may have unconsciously developed a paradigm that makes you avoid risks, doubt your abilities, and settle for less than you are capable of. These paradigms operate beneath the surface, shaping your reality without you even realizing it. Every result in your life, your financial situation, your relationships, your career, your health, is a reflection of the paradigm you hold. If you want to change the results you are getting, you must first change the paradigm that is creating them. But this is where most people get stuck. They try to change their actions without changing their underlying beliefs. And they wonder why they keep falling back into old patterns. They work hard, they set goals, they push themselves, but because their paradigm remains the same, their results do not change in a lasting way. Think of your paradigm like a thermostat. If a room is set to 70 degrees, the thermostat will regulate the temperature to maintain that setting. If the temperature drops, the heater turns on. If the temperature rises, the air conditioning kicks in. Your subconscious mind operates the same way. If your paradigm is set to struggle, you may work hard to create success, but eventually something will happen to bring you back to that familiar level of struggle. If your paradigm is set to just enough, you may earn a little extra money, but then unexpected expenses will arise to bring you back to your financial comfort zone. If your paradigm is set to self-doubt, you may achieve small victories, but you will unconsciously sabotage yourself before you reach your full potential. This is why so many people feel stuck in cycles they cannot seem to break. They are trying to change the results without changing the paradigm that is controlling those results. The good news is that a paradigm is not fixed. It can be rewritten. Just as it was programmed into your subconscious mind, it can be reprogrammed. The first step is awareness. You must become aware of the beliefs that are currently shaping your reality. Start by examining the areas of your life where you feel stuck. Ask yourself, what beliefs do I hold about this area of my life? What do I believe about money, about success, about my abilities, about relationships, about my own worthiness? You may discover that you are carrying beliefs that are not even your own, beliefs that were handed down to you by parents, teachers, or past experiences. These beliefs have been shaping your life without your conscious permission. Once you identify them, you gain the power to challenge and replace them. Reprogramming a paradigm requires repetition and emotional intensity. The subconscious mind does not change simply because you decide you want a new belief. It changes when a new belief is impressed upon it repeatedly with strong emotion. This is why affirmations, visualization, and environment play such a crucial role in shifting a paradigm. When you repeatedly expose your mind to new, empowering beliefs, they begin to replace the old, limiting ones. If you want to shift from a paradigm of lack to a paradigm of abundance, you must repeatedly feed your mind with thoughts, images, and feelings of abundance. If you want to shift from self-doubt to confidence, you must continuously affirm and visualize yourself as capable, powerful, and successful. At first, it may feel unnatural because your old paradigm is still active, but with persistence, the new paradigm begins to take root. One of the most powerful ways to shift a paradigm is to act as if the new belief is already true. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and imagination. It simply accepts whatever is repeatedly fed to it. If you act in alignment with your new belief, your subconscious will begin to accept it as reality. For example, if you are shifting from a paradigm of fear to a paradigm of courage, you must start taking courageous actions. Even if you feel afraid, the more you act in alignment with the new paradigm, the more real it becomes. Another key to shifting a paradigm is surrounding yourself with new influences. Your environment reinforces your beliefs. So if you want to adopt a new paradigm, you must expose yourself to people, books, and experiences that align with that paradigm. If you want to break free from a scarcity mindset, spend time around people who think abundantly. If you want to build unshakable confidence, study people who embody confidence. The more you immerse yourself in the energy of the new paradigm, the faster it will become your default way of thinking. The subconscious mind thrives on emotion and repetition. This is why people who experience a deep emotional breakthrough often change their paradigm overnight, because the emotion was strong enough to override their previous programming. But you do not have to wait for a crisis to shift your paradigm. You can do it deliberately by consciously feeding your mind new beliefs, taking aligned action, and persisting until the new paradigm becomes automatic. The reason why some people seem to attract success effortlessly while others struggle is not because of luck or intelligence. It is because of the paradigm they operate from. When you shift your paradigm, you shift your entire reality. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Where you once saw obstacles, you now see opportunities. Where you once hesitated, you now take bold action. It all begins in the mind. When you reprogram the subconscious with a paradigm that supports your highest potential, success stops being something you chase and starts being something you naturally attract. The mind is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it can work for you or against you depending on how you use it. Most people go through life allowing their minds to be influenced by external circumstances, reacting to whatever happens around them rather than consciously directing their thoughts and energy. They wake up in the morning and immediately check their phones, filling their minds with news, social media, and other distractions. They go through the day reacting to problems, absorbing negativity, and letting outside influences dictate their emotions. By the time they go to bed, their minds are filled with worry, stress, and doubt. They repeat this cycle every single day, never realizing that they have the power to take control of their mental environment. The truth is, your mind does not operate on its own. It follows the instructions you give it. If you do not consciously program your mind for success, growth, and positivity, it will be programmed by default with fear, doubt, and limitation. The mind is like a garden. If you do not plant seeds of positivity, success, and abundance, weeds of negativity and limitation will grow automatically. This is not because the mind is working against you. It is simply following the natural law of input and output. Whatever you consistently feed your mind becomes your dominant mental state. If you allow negativity to take root, it will spread, influencing the way you think, feel, and act. If you intentionally cultivate positive and empowering thoughts, they will begin to shape your reality in ways you never imagined. The key is to take full responsibility for what you allow into your mind. You must become the gatekeeper, deciding which thoughts and influences are worthy of your attention and which ones must be rejected. One of the biggest traps people fall into is allowing their minds to be dominated by fear-based thinking. Fear is a natural emotion. But when it becomes the dominant force in your mind, it creates hesitation, procrastination, and inaction. People who live in fear avoid taking risks, avoid stepping outside their comfort zones, and ultimately avoid growth. The mind, when left unchecked, will always gravitate towards safety and comfort. But comfort is the enemy of progress. If you want to break free from fear-based thinking, you must start feeding your mind evidence of possibility. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, start focusing on what could go right. Instead of replaying past failures, start imagining future victories. Instead of believing in limitations, start believing in potential. A simple but powerful exercise is to become aware of the language you use in your mind. Most people are completely unaware of the constant mental dialogue running in the background. They say things like, "I can't do this. This is too hard. I'm not good enough." And they don't even realize that these thoughts are shaping their reality. Instead of saying, "I can't," say, "I am learning." Instead of saying, "I'll never succeed," say, "I am on my way to success." It may feel unnatural at first because your mind is used to operating from a place of limitation. But with repetition, this shift in language will create a shift in your belief system. Your mental environment is not just influenced by your thoughts. It is also shaped by the people you surround yourself with. If you are constantly around people who complain, doubt, and focus on problems, their energy will influence your own mindset. You may not even realize it, but your subconscious mind absorbs the energy of the people around you. This is why it is crucial to be intentional about your environment. Surround yourself with people who think bigger, who believe in possibilities, who push you to grow. If you do not have people like this in your immediate environment, seek them out in books, podcasts, and other forms of learning. The more you expose yourself to positive, growth-oriented thinking, the more your own mind will start to reflect those patterns. Another critical factor in shaping your mental environment is the information you consume. Every single day, your mind is absorbing data from the world around you. If you constantly consume news filled with fear, negativity, and division, your mind will become conditioned to expect negativity. If you fill your mind with stories of success, strategies for growth, and knowledge that empowers you, your mind will start looking for opportunities instead of obstacles. Be deliberate about what you allow into your consciousness. Instead of spending hours scrolling through social media, use that time to feed your mind with something that elevates you. Instead of watching content that promotes fear and drama, seek out content that inspires and educates you. Your mental environment is created by the choices you make every day. Your physical state also has a direct impact on your mental environment. If your body is sluggish, unhealthy, or lacking energy, your mind will reflect that. The way you move, breathe, and carry yourself sends signals to your brain that influence your emotions and thoughts. This is why exercise, deep breathing, and proper nutrition are so important, not just for physical health, but for mental clarity and emotional strength. If you feel stuck in negative thinking, move your body. Go for a run, lift weights, take deep breaths, do something that shifts your physical energy, and you will notice an immediate shift in your mental state. Another way to take control of your mental environment is through visualization and mental rehearsal. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you consistently visualize yourself succeeding, achieving, and overcoming challenges, your mind begins to accept that vision as reality. This is why elite athletes, top performers, and successful individuals use visualization as a tool for success. They see themselves winning before they actually win. They program their minds with the outcome they desire, and their subconscious goes to work aligning their actions with that vision. If you want to shape your reality, start by shaping the mental images you hold of yourself. Meditation and mindfulness are also powerful tools for creating a mental environment that supports growth and success. Most people operate on autopilot, reacting to life rather than consciously directing their thoughts. Meditation allows you to step back and observe your thoughts, giving you the power to choose which ones to focus on. It creates mental space, reduces stress, and helps you develop the ability to respond to life with intention rather than reaction. Even just a few minutes of daily mindfulness can create a profound shift in the way you think and feel. Journaling is another powerful practice for shaping your mental environment. Writing down your thoughts allows you to organize your mind, release negativity, and reinforce positive beliefs. Instead of letting thoughts run wild in your head, put them on paper. Write down your goals, your intentions, your victories. Train your mind to focus on progress rather than problems. The simple act of writing something down solidifies it in your consciousness and helps you direct your mental energy toward what truly matters. Every single day you have the power to choose the thoughts you entertain, the energy you absorb, and the influences you allow into your mind. You can let external circumstances dictate your mental environment, or you can take charge and create an environment that supports your highest potential. The choice is yours.